Hi, this is Tommy Cooksey from SIMBA Chain, and today what I want to do is I want to show you a little bit about some of the new plugins that SIMBA Chain has made available to us. Now, what we see here on this site, and this is on SIMBA Chain's website, if you go into our Truffle suite integrations, some of the things that we talk about here is some of the integrations that we've added to both Visual Studio Code as a plugin and Visual Studio Code as an extension. And then also we've added in the ability for you to be able to integrate Truffle, which is a full package management suite that allows you to take advantage of a lot of things, including the Open Zeppelin libraries. So we're going to look at these two plugins. We're going to see what those did for us. We're also going to look at Truffle Suite. And then lastly, we're going to look at the Open Zeppelin libraries. And what that does is that's going to give us the ability to integrate standard tokenomics. So many of you have asked questions about how do I get an ERC20 or an ERC721 or a non-fungible token? How do we get one of those standards and how do we take that to market using SIMBA Chain tooling? Well, this tutorial will get you on that track and get you started doing just that. So what we'll see here is the first thing that we have our smart contract designer interface, of course, that we've all used in order to build out your asset transaction type model that then gets converted into Solidity that we use as our smart contract, and then we can use that inside of the Truffle suite. But what if we wanted to do that in reverse? What if we wanted to take something that maybe is already in Truffle and bring that into SIMBA Chain? Could you do that as well? And that's what we're going to look at here today. But in order to get this all to work, you're going to need to have these plugins installed. So we're going to have the Truffle plugin installed, so you can go out to GitHub and follow the instructions there to get that installed. You also need to have the Visual Studio Code extension installed. We'll be using that today. You'll find that there, and if you want to read more on these tools, here's the documentation for that. So let's go ahead and take a look. What we're going to do first is we're going to go out and we're just going to go ahead and go out to Visual Studio Code. So here in Visual Studio Code, we have our SIMBA Chain installation. We have our contracts that we have in SIMBA. We can log into SIMBA. We can interact with SIMBA through this functionality. And so that's the tooling that we'll have here in added in as an extension. But also inside of here, what you'll notice is I have this Open Zeppelin workspace that I've created. Now, where did this Open Zeppelin workspace come from? Well, in order to be able to see that, what we're going to do is we're going to go out here and take a look at our integrations. Yeah, so what we have to do is when we go out to Truffle Suite, in order to get Truffle installed and then also to start using some of these built-in boxes or kind of a standard way to get started is what we call a box. And so in Truffle, what Truffle does is it allows you to easily build out kind of the framework of a lot of your application that a lot of times is just kind of standard framework. So what it does is it's kind of a boilerplate that allows you to focus on what makes your DApp unique and not worry about all those standard functionalities. And so that's what a box does for you. And so one of the boxes that we're going to be taking a look at today is this thing called the tutorial token. And if we look at this tutorial token, when we open this up, in order to get it, we'll have to go ahead and run these commands. Now, I've already done this, so you'll have to do this yourself. And this is going to get Truffle installed, unbox that token, and then it's going to go ahead and compile that and get that set up in your local environment as a server and run that up as an app. And then after you're done with that, then you can go in and you can actually look at the setup of the token. So now we're ready to go ahead, and this is the workspace that you see I have out here, the Open Zeppelin workspace that we'll be working with. And what this is doing is it's just creating this front end piece of the application, creating this thing called the tutorial token that's going to walk you through creating an actual ERC20 token, which is a standard Ethereum token on the Ethereum network, which is one of the standards that we use in SIMBA Chain. So you're going to unbox this, and then it'll create that this directory set that you'll see back here in Visual Studio Code, and then you can go ahead and create the smart contracts. So this is the actual, in your contracts directory, this is where they're actually showing you all of the various attributes that are defining what is required in order to create that asset of a token. And so that's what we're doing here, is we're going through and we're generating this token, we're naming it, we're creating the symbol, we're generating our initial supply. All of those attributes that are required in order to create a token as far as the ERC20 standards are concerned are defined here. And in addition to that, it also has additional nested contracts like SafeMath, ERC20.sol file. Those are also nested inside of this contract, and it's being called by this tutorial contract. And we'll see that here when we go in and actually take a look at it in Visual Studio. We'll see this contracts directory, and then inside of that contractors directory, here's our tutorial token, and you'll notice that it's importing the ERC20.sol, and then in addition to that, the ERC20 is importing SafeMath. So there's a couple nested smart contracts in here, but generally speaking, we're getting all the initial code that we need, and it's available to us. Now, how can I use that and then leverage that in SIMBA? Well, with our SIMBA Chain integrations, we can come in here, and as we've seen before, we can go ahead and do a Truffle run SIMBA login. And when we do that, then of course that's going to allow us to log into our SIMBA Chain environment and then make that connection. So here I'm getting logged in, and then I'm selecting the organization that I'm logging in with. So I've already validated through the link that we'd seen earlier in Adam's demo. And so I'm going to go ahead and select that I'm going to do this in my demos organization. And then here I can select which application that I want to be connected to as far as deploying my smart contracts or importing or exporting smart contracts into or out of. And so here I'll go ahead and select this Open Zeppelin app. So now I'm in that Open Zeppelin workspace, right? That's the same workspace that we see up here. So this is the same workspace here. So it's going to use that contracts directory in order to interpret the commands and things like that. So if I use my Truffle run SIMBA help, let's just take a look at all of the options that are available to us here. And we'll see that one of the options that's available to us is to export. So that means that we're bringing the information that's in our current directory and we're exporting it up from this Open Zeppelin workspace, or this Oz workspace. We're exporting it up, or exporting the project to the smart contract as a service platform in SIMBA Chain. So if I wanted to do that, I could go ahead and run Truffle run SIMBA export, and then that's going to export that tutorial token up into SIMBA, and then I can go ahead and leverage that inside of SIMBA to do whatever changes or updates that I need to make. And so there it is. It's exported out to the SIMBA Chain smart contract as a service platform, and then I can go back into SCAS and take a look at it. So now here in my Visual Studio Code, what we see is, and I'm going to go ahead and clear this out. Just do a clear. So what we're going to see here in Visual Studio Code is I have a few options. So obviously we can log into SIMBA, which once we get logged in, it's going to give us the link. Now, I've already logged in and verified, so it's not going to give me that link that I would need to click in order to get logged in SIMBA. Since I've already got my token, it's just going ahead and using that token. But here, once I've logged in, and now I'm going to go ahead and select the organization that I want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and use this in my demos organization. And then what app do I want to put this in? So I'm going to go ahead and select this Open Zeppelin app that I've created. And then it puts me into that workspace. Now notice that that's the same workspace that we've defined up there in our Explorer. We see that open Zeppelin workspace, which of course has the contracts, and it's provided us with that tutorial token that we see here, where we define all of those standard variables that we need in order to create that TT token in this case. That's going to have about 12,000 of those initially supplied, and those are initially going to be minted to the message.sender's address. So whatever the address is of the minting token, that's going to get the initial supply of those tokens. So this is how you would generate that smart contract that would generate those tokens. You've defined everything that's needed. You also are calling the ERC20.sol file, which is part of the Open Zeppelin Solidity library. In addition to that, that ERC20.sol file is also using something called safe math, so you have a couple nested contracts here, but you're using those open source standards in order to generate those set of resources. So with that, you can then, just like before, you could go ahead and you could look at all the various different contracts if you wanted to, so you could just list out all the contracts. But if we look at the help here for SIMBA, what are some of the options that are available for the SIMBA plugin that we have here in Visual Studio Code? Is we have the option to log in and log out, which we've kind of looked at already. And then we also have the option to export. So what that means is that if we have something here in our directory, here in my contracts directory, my Open Zeppelin library, and I wanted to export that out into SCAS, I could. So I could actually bring something from a standard, in this case a token, and then bring it into SIMBA and then use SIMBA in order to deploy it. Absolutely. And so so that's what we see here, is I can just go ahead and just do Truffle run SIMBA export, and then it's going to go ahead and give me the opportunity to export this contract out into my SCAS. And so we see here that it went ahead and did that. It exported not only that tutorials token, but it also exported all of the additional required files into my SCAS, my smart contract as a service platform. And then if I wanted to go ahead and deploy those, I could go ahead and go into SIMBA smart contract and do it from there. So, all right. So hopefully this helps get a lot of you started, and not only can this be used, of course, for the standard ERC20 tokens, but go ahead and look at some of those delivered boxes that are part of Truffle Suite. There's a lot of really neat projects that you can really get a good head start on some great ideas that you may already have, and then use SIMBA tooling to make that very easy for you to build out your ideas. All right, hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you need any help, just give us a call or drop us a line on our webpage at the support link. All right, thanks and have a great day.